Why
Yep.
is it that I'm not seeing myself when I normally do?
Just go with. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. I am Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban as well.
So I just dropped my Apple Pencil on the floor, which is what I was down there reaching for. I'll have to get that. We will be getting to some of your questions here on the show, going live here on a Monday. Of course, it is right after UFC Vegas, and we do have UFC 250 coming up this weekend, so we will talk about that as well. But Alan, first and foremost, it kind of almost seems like you can't really address the fighting situation that happened in the octagon without addressing some of the fighting and the things that have been going on in the world here. You and I are based in the Los Angeles area here in America. A lot of protests going on right now over the death of George Floyd. So it has been a pretty tense weekend, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very somber, anxious weekend. A lot of mixed emotions with everything going on. I will say that this card was really helpful, I think, especially for MMA fans right now, to just kind of get away from everything, to get away from the tension going on in the world and just kind of enjoy fights again and have that feel of normality for a minute, for the night. But then again, when we wake up, it's back to the real world and have to deal with it again. So the card was nice to have. I think continuing having UFC fights on the weekends will help the world to kind of feel that normality again. But a lot of stuff going on. I guess we'll probably get to it at the end of the show as well.
Yeah, it's tough because we actually drove around LA a little bit yesterday, went over to Melrose. If you had seen things on the news, a lot of things on Melrose were on fire. So we actually went over by that Starbucks and the Urban Outfitters. So literally there was National Guard out on the streets yesterday. And they're cleaning up, and the smell of the fire was still very strong and potent. You know, a lot of people were going Melrose kind of looky-looing and wanting to see what was happening. And it was weird, right? Because a lot of the restaurants had just started to open back up too. And so we had some people out sort of socially distancing, eating on Melrose, which is such a thing that, you know, a lot of people in LA love to do. And then right next door, there's people out there with the plywood trying to board everything up, because literally while we were out, that was around 4 o'clock or so. And then we thought we had an 8 o'clock curfew. Then they changed it to 6 o'clock. We were already on our way back home anyway, but they had changed it to 6 o'clock. So I'm not sure what it's going to be tonight. Beverly Hills had a 1 p.m. curfew in the shopping area and stuff. So, yeah, and you know, we live in an area that when the riots popped off before, our part of town, like, it was jumping. So a lot of people where I am are a little tense.
Yeah. No, it developed so quickly, and we're going to get into this, I think, after the show. But I remember my wife saying a couple of days ago, she got worried, and I said, you know, this is in another state that this is happening when it hadn't came to LA. And then it came to LA, and then it was down, and then it was in Hollywood. And then I said, well, you know, it's over the hill. And quickly it spread to Long Beach, to San Fernando, to Santa Monica, to right down the street where I'm at on Ventura Boulevard. Yeah. And so it continues to spread like fire. Yeah, it's becoming a little closer to home for everyone, I think.
Yep. Please be safe out there, folks. Please remember what the real message is. This was supposed to be a peaceful protest about the death of George Floyd and justice for George, and about police brutality. This is what, you know, they were kneeling for. So that's the real message. And I don't know if you've seen, Alan, but, you know, I've seen the videos of where they confront, you know, people that are not brown skinned, tagging buildings and spraying things, and could be instigators. We don't really know all the stories behind it. But you know, that's horrible. But just please be safe out there, folks. If you are protesting, please be peaceful, and please be safe out there. And hopefully we can get some justice, because this is some bull crap. I am tired of it. Let's talk about some face punching though, Alan, because, you know, like you said, there is something to be said for an escape, right? And some levity. Tough night at the office for Tyron Woodley. Gilbert Burns got it done. This guy is just on an absolute tear, and actually almost got it done in the first round, Alan. But it ended up going all the way to decision. That it seemed that Gilbert
Gilbert had a spectacular night. Gilbert looked the best that I had ever seen him inside the octagon. he's known for being a jiu-jitsu guy who discovered his striking ability. But he looked like a very, very well-rounded fighter that night. And I don't mean just like he's well-rounded out. He could punch, he could kick, he could grapple. But in controlling the momentum of the fight, the psychological warfare, did you notice between every single round, Gilbert stood his ground? It was almost a Robbie Lawler type moment where he would stand in the middle of the octagon and let until Woodley walked away, just to continue to let him know, look, I'm going to be in your butt come the ring of the bell next round. And things like that just lets me know that you're in the zone. He's in the zone. He's in it every minute, every second of the fight. He was trying to win that. And the thing that surprised me the most, aside from, look, I had Woodley winning this fight. My pick before the fight, rather,
me too,
was for Woodley to win. Surprisingly enough, that I was bewildered by was, when was the last time we've seen Tyron Woodley dominated 2 fights in a row? He has not won a single round. He is now 10 rounds in a row that he has been dominated. I mean, we're talking about 10-8 rounds there. The first round might have been 10-8 round. I think with the Usman fight, that might have been possible 10-8 rounds. I can't remember the scorecards, but he's at a place now where we're seeing that he's not quite that where he was. The level of competition has gotten there, and I'm not trying to kick somebody when they're down at the least bit, because I got to say, I want to commend Tyron Woodley. After his first fight with Usman, he said he wasn't there. This fight, he came out and he owned up to it. He said, look, I wasn't, it was the best meet tonight. Everything felt great. The warm up, the coaching, psychological, everything was there. And he just couldn't get the job done. Gilbert was just a better man that night. And I applauded him for a former champion, has so much pride, to come out and just own up to it and fess up to it that he wasn't the winner tonight. But the story really should be how tremendous Gilbert has looked and how much progress he has shown at the 170 division in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, there's a lot there. If you're talking about T. Wood's Instagram post after, if you're talking about that, I thought it was incredible. And he is such a champion and had such a great attitude about everything that happened. And yeah, he's like, and it's funny because the whole time he was fighting, I was WhatsApping with a mutual friend of ours, our friend Sam. So we're going on and on. We're both like, don't forget to breathe. Okay, because look, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted Tyron to win this fight. I love Dorino. Dorino is a wonderful, wonderful guy. I've known Tyron for like 10 years. He's a true friend of mine.
And Tyron,
right. I wanted him to get on the comeback trail. I wanted to see him, make good on all the hard training that he's done. I know how hard he's worked on this one. I wanted to see it go his way. I'm not gonna lie. It didn't go his way. But in that, I kept saying, so we're watching and we're like, okay, at first when Gil came out and blasted him, I was like, oh no, like that was such an incredible start for Gilbert. But on the one hand, you're like, oh no, but on the other hand, you're like, well, shoot, if it has to go out like that, it has to go out like that. And like, sometimes people say they'd rather just get a knockout like bam, like that, instead of losing over 5 rounds, because you were like, well, he just caught me, right? Like, so partly I was sort of like, well, wow, if what happens to Tyron, if Tyron gets Jay Haran, like what he did to Jay, you know what I mean? You sort of feel like sometimes it's fair play in the MMA world or whatever. But the fact that he then survived that round, I was like, all right, wow, yeah, like survived that round. That was really hard. Dorino was doing so much. And it did seem that Tyron was trying to go deep. And he had said before, we know that this was Gilbert's first main event, first time going 5 rounds. So he's like, I can take him deeper. We can go into these championship rounds and we can test him. So for a lot of the time, I wasn't quote unquote worried. Yes, Gilbert was winning and winning quite dominantly. But I kept thinking, okay, well, I know that Tyron has this plan. And I think that this is what his plan is. As it went on, though, you could see I was like, I don't know if this is a plan now. And then he started to look up at the clock more, kind of in the 4th round. And the guys calling the show were saying something like, you can see the frustration in his eyes and things like that. And you could see the frustration. But I also kept thinking it looked like he was really looking for a specific time, right? Like that maybe they had said, okay, when the 2-minute mark comes in the 4th round, it's da-da-da, whatever. I kept thinking that's what it was. And I'm writing with Sam. I'm like, no. I think he's got this plan. And it looks like they have a very specific thing. Then it didn't get that way. Then it gets to the 5th round, and then we're both like, all right, backs against the wall. If this was the plan, I don't know what's going on now. So I didn't really, I kept thinking he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? But meanwhile, the whole time I kept thinking he knows what he's doing, but Gilbert is winning. And it was a hard fight because Gilbert looked awesome. And like everything Gilbert did worked. And so if you're Gilbert, you're like, I told you so. I told you so. I mean, he trolled him for the fight. He's been on this tear. He beat Gunnar Nelson, Damian Maia, and Tyron Woodley in a row. Are you kidding me right now? So like, it's hard to not to really see the success there and be proud and or not proud, but like happy for Gilbert. I've known him for a very long time. To see the success story and like what a huge win. But you know what I mean? The flip side of it, the other side of that story is like, oh man, what a loss when everything looked going into this that it was going to go right.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? We spoke about this on the show last weekend, or last episode, saying that if Tyron wins, he should be shooed back in to the guy that gets the title shot because he's the former champion, right? Maybe he did have an off night. But if Gilbert wins, we're not quite sure if he's deserving to jump the line. But even though he did not finish Tyron, it was such a dominant performance that he stole the show that night. Yeah. I mean, he could have finished Tyron and knocked him out and maybe not have been as qualified to become a title challenger as he did, dominating the champion.
So you think show it? Yeah, you show more over those 5 rounds.
Showed more over those 5 rounds, and I would say even more so than the champion Usman, because although Usman controlled Tyron a lot more, like it's pretty much kind of big brothered him a lot of the fight, he didn't inflict as much damage as we saw Gilbert do. And Gilbert was able to like cut him open.
Yeah,
Gilbert dropped him twice, took him down twice. So to see the champion with his back against the cage against Usman was very shocking. But to see the champion, the former champion in Woodley, drop twice and taken down numerous times, now we're seeing, wow, this is a real competitor and a real threat for somebody like Usman, who wasn't able to have that type of success against Woodley. So it makes for a very intriguing fight, especially since when speaking about Gilbert and Usman, these guys are former champions. I saw a picture today of Usman after winning a fight being carried on Gilbert's shoulders, okay? Being carried on his shoulders. So they have that connection. They've been to war together in each other's corner. Now to separate that, and you always tell us, look, we would never fight unless it was for the big money fight.
Unless it's for the number.
Yeah, the contender title shot, something along those lines. And now they're at that point where they have to cross that road. And if it's all business, it's all business. But I think it really makes for an intriguing fight.
It really does. I want to look. We've got some of our regulars in here, a little snooping in here, and Espada's in here. Okay, Joe Boza, how's it going, folks? So a couple of few things that you said there. I want to unpack a couple of those things there. One of the things I still talking about the fight dynamics here, though, Alan, was the fact that it was in the smaller octagon. I actually thought that was going to help T-Wood in this case, too, right? Because even if you're backing up, you're not backing up that far, right? And then, like, the explosion, if he is going to cut off the cage and if he is going to explode, it's like 2 steps, right? And then you're there. So I also thought that would make us have a more active fight. But I did think that, like, in terms of if you need to cross quickly or close a distance and blast on somebody, that short little cage was going to be like, bam, 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 now I got it, right? But instead, it just seemed like, oh, no, all of a sudden you're on your back against the wall again. Like, it was the reverse of it. It was like too shallow going backwards, you know what I mean? And I felt like the whole time Gilbert did such a good job of like always making sure that he had Tyron backing up and backing up and backing up, and he gave him that chance to explode and come forward, and just did such a good job really just like controlling where it played out. And Gilbert looked awesome.
Let me tell you from experience, Karyn, coaches hate that. When you fall into that trap of putting your back on the cage and being comfortable there. You get comfortable, you let the other partner lead the dance, and you're just there. You're always a step behind because you can't go anywhere. They're winning the fight because they're taking the center of the octagon and they're dictating where that goes. Mm-hmm. Coaches do not like that. They say you get on the cage, you can look for a counter shot, you circle out, and you recenter in the center of the octagon. This is the second fight in a row, 10 rounds in a row that we've seen Tyron very comfortable with his back against the cage, kind of thinking that he's going to land that counter punch, with kind of losing the grappling area. It seems to be kind of a mental thing because Tyron said it before. I thought the thing that won me over for this fight with Tyron, aside from being the former champion, going into 5 rounds, the bigger guy, the stronger guy, the harder hitting guy, was that Tyron came in hungry. Tyron came in and said, I'm ready. I'm ready to kill. I smell blood.
Totally.
The old guy. And I was convinced. How am I going to go against that? The guy that knocked out so many people before, the dangerous, explosive fighter, Tyron Woodley, the smart guy. And he fell back into that trap, that law. And you could hear his corner urging him to make something happen round after round after round. He couldn't snap out of it. You could physically see Tyron. When he would get hit, he would clap his hands and try to snap himself out of it. And it would not work. He could not get out of it. He was just kind of lulling himself into a trap. And I think it's just kind of a mental thing, but also sometimes your body doesn't do what you quite want it to do. And you know, you wake up sometimes as you get older and you say, oh, here's a new wrinkle or here's a gray hair. And it happens as fighters as well. And I could attest to it. Me and Tyron are about the same age. Yeah. I'm probably, to be all honesty, I'm probably not in my prime anymore. When I was 34, 35, I was probably a little more explosive. You wake up one day and you don't quite have the ability to just spring the step that you once did. And I think Tyron is realizing that in fights, in sparring and training, he probably looks very well. But when it comes to the fight time, that spring's not quite in his step, and he doesn't feel comfortable going out there and putting himself in danger. So he feels safer against the cage, even though his coaches keep urging him on. So I feel for the guy, but again, I applauded the way that he owned up to it. Oh yeah, and the congratulations should be about the spectacular performance from Gilbert that night.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the whole thing now. So when we do talk about Dern, you know, like Joe Boza here saying the welterweight division is in real fun chaos right now. Not a scratch on him. I can see him doing a quick turnaround. That is kind of a funny thing because we know Dern has just been on a tear. And, you know, we talked to him. I talked to him the other day. If people want to go back and look at that interview, it's definitely worth it. Dern talks about how he kind of trolled his way into this fight. And it's kind of fun sometimes to go back and listen to a pre-fight interview after they say what they're going to do. And then you're like, holy crap, he actually did what he said he was going to do or whatever, you know, kind of fun. But so going into this, you know, obviously Tyron was ranked number 1 there. When you look at now, Tyron was supposed to fight Leon Edwards in March. So now, you know, Leon's still standing by looking for somebody to fight. We have Dern in there. We don't know what's happening with Colby, and there has been some Colby news, right? Like he has left American Top Team. And what did he say? Something like we've heard for a long time that there were funky things going on there with his relationship at ATT anyway, and all, you know, you can't say that much about and expect to really feel a lot of warmth in a place that has a lot of Brazilians. I don't want to get into the whole story, what may or may not have happened with him leaving, but Colby is still a name that is at the top of the division who people care to watch fight. So we've got Kamaru, we've got Leon, we've got Colby, we've got Gilbert. Like, you know, who would you see a matchup? Do you think Gilbert has earned it, or do you think you would make him fight like a Leon or somebody else? Or Masvidal is in here too.
You know, I think Leon has got to be sitting back watching that fight thinking, damn, that should have been me. It was so close. And to be honest, to be fair, I think it would have been similar results. Had Woodley had gone to London, I told you, I said it on the show, that I thought Leon was a tougher fight for Woodley. I thought that the Gilbert fight was a little bit more two guys that are kind of the same reach, the same grappling, the same striking, where Leon is a different dynamic. He's like 6'1", 6'2", with a lengthy reach. He could grapple, he could strike, he's in your. I thought Woodley would have had a tougher time. So the problem with it is Leon, and it's not his fault. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but Leon wasn't able to do it. And so Gilbert willed himself into this fight, tweeted himself into this fight, but he made it happen. He stole the thunder that could have been Leon Edwards. So even if Leon Edwards is deserving and could have done the same results against Woodley, he didn't do it. The man that did it was Bruns. He's the guy that deserved the title shot. He put on the show. He disarmed the former champ like we have never seen before. So he's the guy. I would say let's let that grudge match between Leon and possibly Masvidal happen. But I think Masvidal is looking for more of a money fight. He's kind of a guy that could play his own cards right now in terms of Conor McGregor, big money fight. So, but I would give the former teammates Gilbert and Usman that title shot.
Yeah, there's a part of me that because I just love Masvidal, and I just am like, just let him fight whenever. Like, to me, and it's not even I don't care if Masvidal is never a champion. Maybe he cares.
I don't either.
I don't care. You know what I mean? And so to me, it's like the idea of Masvidal getting a title shot. Like, I sure he should get one at some point. Like, I don't know if I'm phrasing this the right way. Like, I just like his awesomeness doesn't require a belt. You know what I mean? It's just like that dude's just cool and great and fun to watch. So if he's never a champion, he's still going to be incredible to me. But obviously the man should have a chance to fight for the title if that's what he's earned. So it's tough because I could see the argument for Gilbert at this point now being on such a tear and having all of that momentum going forward. But it's unfortunate for the Leons, for the ones who just aren't based here in the States, to like have to be sidelined because it just bad luck like that. I think there is something to be said about, Masvidal and Edwards fighting each other, and then does Durinho slide in? I don't know. Or Durinho versus Colby?
Colby, I forgot about Colby in the mix.
See, because a Brazilian against Colby would be pretty dope.
Yeah. I also, it makes it fun because we both agree that I don't really care if Masvidal gets a title or not, because we know, as good as he is, and I'm a fan of him, even though he's in my division, I'm a big fan. He's not like the best fighter in the world. He's got the skills, but what I'm saying is he's got a ton of losses, and they were against tough caliber guys, and he's fought.
A lot of them were split decisions.
Right, a lot, but you know what I'm saying.
But yes,
he's lost a lot of times in it throughout his career. We've seen it to people that the higher level guys have beaten. So he's got flaws, but he's deserving of that BMF type title and that celebrity status. He's deserving of money fights because he's the kind of guy you want to watch. He just brings it to the floor every time. So he has history with Leon. That fight makes sense. But you just brought in Colby Covington. He has history with Colby Covington as well. So why don't we have the roommates fight the roommates?
Yes. Well, if Colby and Jorge fought, that'd be amazing.
Can you imagine a card where Usman and Gilbert headlined the co-main event is former teammates and roommates. Lee, I apologize. I can't get it out of my mouth. What am I trying to say here?
You want Covington
Thank you very much.
Main event to Burns versus Usman.
Oh my goodness! It took me too long to get that out of my mouth, but that's exciting to think about. The main event and co-main event, the history between those four fighters.
Yeah,
that's a super card for the ages right there. That's a welterweight type throwdown.
If it happens, Alan, it needs to just be a welterweight card. You can come back and fight on that card as well.
I'm down. That'd be fun.
Yeah, all right. Well, let me see if we got some thoughts here before we move on to the next topic. But let's see here. Yeah, in general, everybody out here, we do say thank you. And also when Nate Diaz is in here, spot is saying there's also, Nate Diaz is, kind of like a spoiler in there when you talk about the welterweight division. Nate's just a fun money fight in there too. Same with Connor, possibly being a money fight there and different stuff. So on that, hopefully it will be interesting to see what happens next for Tyron as well and how he takes it. And, I know he's a target of a lot of online troll. People love to troll him over his music and this and that. But, he's a really great guy and he has done a lot to take care of his family and all kinds of things. He is definitely a true champion. So I really, I do wish people would cut him some slack, but.
Hey, I gotta say that one song that Gilbert was trolling,
in and out.
I don't know. It was stuck in my head for the longest time. It's kind of catchy, even though they were like laughing at his lyrics, his lyrical, singing ability. That song was in my head for weeks after he said tweeting it out there. So I might look it up.
I will say the other sort of standouts for me on the night were the women. Katlyn Chookagian, very dominant. I did not expect that over Antonina Shevchenko. We know that Chookagian had fought Valentina for the title. Didn't go her way, but Katlyn did have her way against Valentina's sister, Antonina Shevchenko. You can see the pictures there. She was just basically commanded from bell to bell. Katlyn had such control over her in the grappling department. Antonina is a striker more anyway, and we know that. And so definitely strategically, it was a very smart idea to take her down. And it just looked like everything was going right for Katlyn. And she was so commanding. It was such a dominant performance. And you do have to wonder the whole time if what's playing through her head, having fought both Shevchenko sisters.
Yeah, I mean, Katlyn, dominant performance. I mean, she big sistered her from bell to bell. As soon as they touched gloves, she went in, she got the body lock, put her down, and beat her up. The referee was just looking for a way to stop the fight the entire time. Never quite got there, though. I wish she would have made an adjustment. I don't mean to get all technical after a dominant performance.
You're here for that, Alan. Explain what she could have done.
Well, she kept doing the rear naked choke with the hand on top of the head. And that's the only defense, I'm trying to see where I can see myself, is to pull the hand down. And so what you do is you put it behind the neck, and then you put your forehead here. That way there's no way to get to this hand, if that makes sense. And I wish you would. It's tough with gloves on in the middle of a fight. But if she would have got there at one point, she would have been able to finish a choke, because Shevchenko kept pulling the arm down, saving herself, making a one-hand against one-hand fight. Dominant performance. I remember I saw a funny tweet. Well, funny to me, probably not the Shevchenko sisters, but I think it was Bilal Muhammad. He's pretty funny.
I love Bilal.
And he goes, I think he said something like, Shevchenko is going to make somebody pay after this, talking about, Valentino. His sister's going to beat the hell out of someone after her watching her sister get dominated for those 3 rounds. And I don't deny it. I believe so as well. She's Shevchenko, one of the best pound-for-pound women fighters we ever seen in the octagon. Her sister, who trains right alongside her, equally just as talented in the striking department, but not equally as talented in the MMA world.
In the all-around world,
right? Know all the defenses and the maneuvers and have the hips in the wrestling department yet. Yeah,
exactly. So Joe Boza here was also just saying that, Antonina was supposed to fight Cynthia Calvillo, and, so that wasn't the matchup. But honestly, that would have gone worse. Cynthia Calvillo is a sniper.
Yeah.
Would have locked that neck up. I mean,
hitting the mat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just put it this way: if Antonina is going to fight her in the future, she's going to need a lot of work, because Cynthia is a beast. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Enjoyed isn't the right word. It's interesting when you see somebody though have such a commanding performance, that you wonder, what is next when you look that much better than somebody, but then you didn't win the title. Like, you're like, well, where do you go from there? Like, what do you take from that? Like, I'm very, very good, but maybe not good enough yet. Like, I guess it's good motivation.
Yeah, it keeps her floating around, I guess. But yeah, I mean, to be able to put on that type of performance against a Shevchenko sister, it puts your name out there. It was definitely impressive. The other one that you were probably on the tip of your tongue was the Mackenzie Dern fight.
Mackenzie looked awesome.
Mackenzie looked good. Her opponent came out looking very strong, though. But she just got a little overzealous. She got a little too comfortable playing touch, with her leg in the leg lock game. When you have a world champion jiu-jitsu grappler and she's on her back and she's kind of in that desperate mode. I don't want to say Mackenzie was desperate, but she wasn't really winning the fight so much thus far. And she's in a bad position on her back. But you can't give her only safe way right there is if you give her a leg lock and either let her sweep you to get back to the feet or go ahead and finish her leg lock. Yeah. But she left her leg there and let Mackenzie there and grab a hold of it, make an adjustment, go to the knee bar, go to the leg lock. She kept making adjustments without her opponent bailing out. She should have bailed out a long time ago. They should have been drilling and drilling and drilling. We want this fight on the feet, or we want it in advantageous positions on the ground, but not giving her a limb and let her do what she did in that fight.
Yeah, it was, I tweeted, I'm like, well, Mackenzie Dern. Like, what do you expect from that? I was trying to look at the email and double check. I'm pretty sure they said it was the only leg lock submission in history of the division for women. Yeah. So there she is, and she's such an amazing woman on the canvas. She's a jiu-jitsu specialist. So yeah, I mean, going into this fight, you have to avoid at all costs, if you can, going to the canvas. And yeah, Hannah did start well. She's coming off a loss to Angela Hill, so that she was fired up to try to come out here and make something happen. So a bit of a tough go for Hannah Cifers now, having dropped 2 in a row. Still a very young woman, though, and still obviously has a lot of time and a lot of future ahead of her in terms of the fight game. But, Mackenzie is a woman who, when she first came to the UFC, and we had a really nice conversation beforehand, too. We were both kind of hyper, and, we were talking about motherhood and babies and all, and just like, she's just such a cool girl. And I just love her energy. And like, so we, got a little high energy there with her. She's really cool. But we were talking about the fact that and we were talking about this on the podcast last week, Alan, that after she did lose her first fight, she was like, wow, that's weird. I don't get as many calls from the matchmakers as I used to. Like, her phone was ringing, and she was getting these opportunities right away because of her name in the jiu-jitsu world. She lost a fight didn't get as many opportunities right away. So she really had a lot to prove coming back on this one. Really wanted to get back on the winning trail. Has said that after her becoming a mom, like a lot of things have actually changed for her the better with her body. It helped her with making weight. It's more regulating her and all these things. So I thought she looked good. This is a woman who has gotten grief before, and she did miss weight, and she did miss weight egregiously before. Yeah. But now, it looks like she's going to get things on track. She looks back on track. It looked to be, if you're in a scramble and you end up on the canvas like that with Mackenzie, like, you're done. Sorry.
You've got to bail out. When this is somebody's strength, when fighting, you can't always think about your strength. You got to think, how can they beat me? And then you have to eliminate the possibilities of that. And she didn't do a good job of it. It reminded me when I fought Ben Saunders, even though I feel like I could be comfortable with him on the ground, he's got crazy dexterity and really good rubber guard. And I go, I'm just going to keep this fight standing. I'm going to stay out of the clinch, and I'm going to stay out of the rubber guard. When the fight went to the ground, I bailed out of there. I could have stayed there and ground and pounded him, but I'm giving him an opportunity to find an opening, and that's what she did. She's going to go back to the drawing board and correct that. But, yeah, when you go against somebody who specializes in something, stay away from there. Make it an even fight.
Especially with Ben. It's like a tarantula. He's like all legs and arms.
All legs.
Yeah. Hell no, Ben.
All legs.
All arms and legs.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben Saunders. What a good dude.
What's up?
Such a good dude. Somebody is asking. Okay, yeah, your boy D-Rod. Somebody is asking, what about your boy D-Rod versus Mike Perry or something? Also, our buddy Gabriel Gonzalez. Hey there, Gabe. Talking about D-Rod versus Green. What did you think of that? I mean, D-Rod's a guy that you trained with sometimes, right? Our boy Joe Schilling was there with him.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was kind of I could see almost a surprising look in D-Rod's face, because he's a guy
in the third round where he's like, we're still here.
Right. Daniel, he knocks people out. He's got kind of, I've said this before, kind of hidden power. He swings hard, and you could see that, but he doesn't look like a guy that will just knock your head off. But when he connects, you feel it. You feel it. And he's got power, and his record shows that. Mm-hmm. The way that he was hitting his opponent, Green, who was a smaller guy, and the way that he was eating those punches and continuing to get in Daniel's face, I was shocked out there. Man, this guy has a tremendous chin. I think you could see D-Rod kind of thinking the same thing, like, what do I have to do to stop this guy? Wouldn't go away. But you know what? That's the kind of opportunity that guys like Green, you come in on a few days' notice. As long as you go out there and put on a tremendous fight, win or lose, you're going to get another opportunity with the UFC. And they're going to give him another opportunity, I'm sure, because of that performance. But Daniel Rodriguez, he comes in the UFC. He's now 2-0 within a matter of months.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. I was joking about this on Twitter because I was giving him a hard time as well. But
were you?
I think he spent half of his bonus on tattoos. I don't know if you noticed, but after his fight,
no way.
He got a performance bonus in his first fight, and then during the quarantine or whatever, I'm watching his stories. He's getting neck tattoos, face, chest tattoos, head tattoos. He was almost unrecognizable. I was waiting to hear if the commentators were going to take note of it, man. Like, man, this guy completely inked up in a matter of 4 months since his last fight. But I didn't hear much of it. But it's a fun start for him. He's got to feel good going 2-0 in the UFC. And especially during times like this, to be able to be making money and progressing in your career when a lot of people can't even find a gym to train at.
Yep. Yeah, that was cool. Good for him. And it's got to feel good when your buddies and stuff are succeeding. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Absolutely. Well, this weekend we have UFC 250. The main event is Amanda Nunes, and she is defending her featherweight title against Felicia Spencer. We also have Cory Sandhagen going up against Aljamain Sterling in the co-main. That's a really important fight in the bantamweight division. So, Alan, the other day I spoke with Felicia Spencer. We will be getting that interview out. We also have a No Wrong Answers with her. She's just a really nice girl. I know I say that a lot or whatever, but she really is. She's friendly and polite and everything. And she is another one, Alan, who is great on the ground with jiu-jitsu. When we saw her come out, she took out Megan Anderson very, very quickly. This is a woman who was able to go 5 rounds with Chris Cyborg. That in and of itself, a lot of people think is a victory, to not get your head taken off by Chris Cyborg. Last time we saw her, she had a finish. We were in Norfolk, Virginia or whatever. So Felicia is now going to be going up for the featherweight title. She's a former Invicta featherweight champion at featherweight. I already just said that. But she's a real 45er, Alan. And that's why I like, we're not talking about a woman coming up to try to fight Amanda, who is a tall woman. Look, I'm 5'8". Amanda's a little taller than me. I think she's 5'9". I don't know exactly what my reach is. Amanda's a little longer than mine. Like, she's a broad-shouldered woman. She's got more broad shoulders than I do. So I know what I would be going up against if I were to fight Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? So I look at Felicia and I'm like, okay, good. You're a true 45er. You're going up. I mean, you're really where you belong. You're not afraid. You are fearless. Actually, she really is. And there's a real like calmness to her about the opportunity. And she's like, yeah, that woman's amazing, and I am too. And like, has a really good head on her shoulders about this, and also does know that if we have seen weaknesses from Amanda, they were on the canvas.
Yeah. I mean, excuse me. That's what she has to do. She has to come out here, use her big body, natural 145er to come out there and kind of make it an ugly fight. If there is, like you just mentioned, some sort of weakness. Amanda's very well-rounded and good everywhere, but her striking is much more potent and deadly than her canvas game, her grappling game. So Amanda has been there with the best of the best division before. Yep. But like you said, Felicia going 5 rounds with Cyborg shows that she's a durable girl. She's not somebody that's going to just get wiped out all over the match. She's going to be in there for the long haul, and she could do that against Amanda and make it a dirty fight, make her grapple with her, not get hit with those popping shots, and keep her hands up the entire time. Yep. She's got a good chance in this fight if she could do all that. Amanda Nunes, the Lioness, she's phenomenal. She finds ways. Look, every time I say her name, Karyn, I think about being there when Amanda fought Cyborg. And it was the most shocking thing I've ever seen, to see these two women collide and it be over so suddenly and so dramatically, and to see her be carried out of the octagon right in front of me. I go, I will never doubt this girl again. And we've said that numerous times about certain girls like Valentina Shevchenko. Yep. Amanda Nunes is definitely one of those women that I will never bet against. But Felicia has the ability to make it a dirty fight. She just has to be able to do it the entire time.
Yeah, Amanda is like the woman that I think she and Valentina are the ones I live the most. I live through vicariously the most, right? Like, I've even joked on this before that Amanda, and I've joked with Amanda that we're going to do something where she's like my stunt double, that I start talking crap to somebody and then, she comes in and beats him up. Because if you've seen her Modelo ad with her hair a little longer, like her hair is actually kind of wavy and stuff, but we were like, we'll just throw a wig on you and it'd be really funny. But this is a woman who I just love to watch her fight. You know what I mean? Like, she is so empowering to all of us women. And I think in general, look at all of the women that are getting in the octagon are empowering to those of us watching. But when in the case of an Amanda, in the case of a Valentina, in the case of a Cyborg, even, when you see the level of expertise and dominance and just badassness, like, it is freaking great. And so you guys as men do it all the time and see all the time, and you actually, Alan, get to live it. We don't get to do it as much. So when I see girls like this in there just throwing down, it is so freaking fun, and I love it. So Amanda is just, she's like, she's a real hero. That woman's a hero. Come on.
Are you jumping ship, Karyn? Are you jumping ship on Valentina? No, I'm sorry, not Valentina. On Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Joanna Jędrzejczyk used to be
my spirit animal. Yes, I'm not jumping ship on her. There is still a lot of Joanna in here as well. There is still a lot of Joanna in here as well. Look at that's it. Luckily, we do have a lot of little badasses in there. Joanna's so small for me; she can fit right here. Joanna,
you in trouble right now. I'm getting you in trouble.
I love her. I can't list all the girls that I love from badasses. Rose. Yeah, all of them. Zhang Wei Li. Are you kidding me? You watch Zhang Wei Li's Instagram? Holy crap.
I love how defensive you got. I used to hear a lot more Joanna Jędrzejczyk spirit animal out of you. I noticed that it was a little bit more.
I know, but have you seen Valentina? Then I see Valentina. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I think my animal got an upgrade.
All clustered in there together, but Amanda is atop the pedestal.
See, we have a 15 spirit animal, a 25 spirit animal, a 35 spirit animal, a 45 spirit animal. We're allowed multiple.
I get it.
Actually, it's funny. Anyway, it's not funny. I digress. Let's see any questions here. But like I said, we will put this interview out with Felicia. I have some questions here, or see if there's any questions here. Some people, Little Snoop saying he sees an upset in here. I don't know if we'll see an upset. I mean, it's so interesting, right? You just never know. Obviously, Amanda is going to set a record if she is victorious. She would be a woman successfully defending 2 belts. There's been a couple of guys that have done it. I think we're lying if we say it isn't an uphill battle for Felicia, but certainly it's possible.
Yeah, and you know what? For some reason, I had this feeling in my chest that it could possibly be one of these fights, much like the John Jones fights as of lately, where some of his opponents aren't really the Gustafsons, the guy that we think will be his equal, the bigger, stronger, long arm guys like that. But yet, John Jones has been having trouble with some of these guys of lately, even though we thought, man, they're not ready for John Jones. And this could be one of those fights for Amanda where, like, Felicia is not as big of a name, a rematch with Cyborg or Shevchenko, but she's one of these people, these girls that have the mentality, the experience, and the fighting style to make it a fight that was very close. I still give Amanda the edge in getting the win in this fight, but it could be a closer fight than people realize.
Yeah, and she can take a punch. I mean, you cannot go 5 rounds with I wouldn't go 5. I'll give myself 5 seconds with Cyborg, and I think I could take a body shot, Alan. I don't think I could take a headshot. I don't want to take a headshot. I think I could take a body shot. Maybe not a liver shot, but I think I could take a body shot.
Yeah, I was about to say the liver is a tough. But you can run in circles for at least 10 seconds before getting caught.
All my jumping rope, my cardio, my footwork's going to be good, Alan. My footwork's going to be good, and I can move. And I think I can take a body shot. But no, my point is that Felicia Spencer definitely has a chin. This is a tough woman. But look, Amanda is everything. She is, we've just heard it for years about how her work ethic. We know how hard this woman works. If you look at all about her preparation, she's still working crazy hard. We know that she and Nina are looking to start a family. Amanda is definitely building her legacy. She's got a lot on in her life, and you can tell that this is a woman who fully, completely owns being a champion, loves everything about it, lives everything about it, and it's hard to argue. It's hard. Everything looks to be going right for her, so it's hard to say, oh, she's due for a slip up or anything like that. Like, the woman is just crushing things, and I don't have a reason to think it wouldn't go her way.
I don't either. It just sometimes seems that these patterns is when the lesser name opponent that you think it might be a clean sweep, that's the one that give the champions the most trouble sometimes, with history has shown. But I could see Amanda with a hand raised going and having their baby and then maybe taking some time off.
Yeah, it'll be good. Also in there, so I talked to Cory Sandhagen the other day. Cory Sandhagen is fighting Aljamain Sterling, and this is a very important fight in the bantamweight division. We know that Henry Cejudo has left. What did he say? He's going to put Jan in. They're going to fight for the vacant title, right? It's going to be Jan and I don't know. Anyway, this is a very important fight for Cory Sandhagen. I don't know how you feel about this one. They are both. Like, he's a great grappler, but Aljamain is a great grappler as well. I'm curious where you think this fight's going to play out.
I don't know Sandhagen as well as I know Aljamain Sterling. I've seen him fight, but I've seen Aljamain fight for so many times, many years. Sandhagen, he's got the ability, and I've seen, I just saw some pictures of him doing cartwheel kicks and grappling. And he's a well-rounded, very tough dude. Aljamain Sterling, as you mentioned, though, I've trained with Aljamain Sterling. He's tremendous. He's tremendous everywhere. His physique, he's very strong everywhere. He's got a real solid core. And his style of fighting is very difficult to deal with because even though he's a good grappler, Aljamain Sterling likes to throw long kicks. He plays like a John Jones game. He keeps you at bay with these long kicks, and it sets up an opportune moment to then blast you with his hands. And one thing that I had against Aljamain Sterling game, a flaw, if you will, was that he didn't box enough. He was only kicks leading to the takedowns, kicking leading to takedown. But in his last couple of fights, especially when he fought one of my former teammates, Pedro Munoz, who is one of the best in the division, whenever he was able to land those punching combos against Pedro and take Pedro down and land everything he did against Pedro, it really showed me that his game is well-rounded now. He already had a good game, but the ability to land the punches as well as the kicks now, you're seeing some of it there. It shows me he's got the ability to be a world champion.
Yeah, and with Cory, he's one of those guys that was kind of a spoiler coming up, and people didn't want to fight him, and then he's winning, and they're like, oh, he's beating John Lineker and all these things. So he was to actually be fighting Frankie Edgar at one point, and then Frankie Edgar fought the Zombie. Do you know what I mean? We know what happened there. So then Cory had actually gotten kind of sidelined for a little while. But the Sandman, he's got very long arms, long reach and everything, trains in Colorado. So he's got good cardio. You know, obviously he's got that altitude training. And this is important because if we see Jan and Aldo fighting for a title, we still also have Marlon Moraes in there. Also on this card, we have Cody Garbrandt coming back into action and stuff. So, you know, it's an interesting time and at the top of this bantamweight division here. I'm actually really excited to see Cody come back too. I feel like it has been for freaking ever. My God. But yeah, a lot of attention should be paid to a couple of these key matchups in the men's bantamweight division.
I think it's been forever since we've seen Cody Garbrandt. I think his last fight was that one against Pedro Nunes, where Pedro got the victory. They were kind of slugging it out and playing roulette right there in the pocket, and Cody got caught. But yeah, he's going against a Sunsao, correct?
Yep.
That's a tough fight. I mean, they're both guys that are at the top of the division. There's no easy. Rafael Sunsao has proven to be a guy that will sit there, that could take tremendous shots and give them back as well. So Cody Garbrandt needs to play a safe fight right here, smart, try to box him up, stick and move, much like he did against Dominic Cruz, not sit in the pocket like he did against Pedro Munoz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so wild, right? Because Asuncao a name that was in, like, dude's been in the division forever and has been a threat forever. It's how long he's been here. Really, truly legendary. With Cody, you know, it's like, how do you think things have changed, right? Because when he came on the scene and he blasted his way and he won all these fights and he was such a terror and became a champion and then his way, like, I wonder what the second coming of Mr. Garbrandt is going to look like now, right? I mean, because it's a huge opportunity. There's a lot riding on it. And I know people say that about every single fight, but I feel more than anything like this is just massive for Cody.
And it's, you know, it's the tough part on him is that people see Cody Garbrandt as a target now because he's a guy with a name, a former champion. As you stated, he came on the scene very fast, obtained the title, and he had kind of an aura about him. People were like wearing those Savage shirts, and they thought he was going to be the next coming. They thought he was the next big thing. And then all of a sudden, he lost his title, started kind of showing a little bit of a kink in the armor with his chin, and he became a target where people are going, oh, I want to fight this guy. I want to test his chin. And so he's a guy now that has to come back and prove himself that he's not going to be a victim of these contenders that want to make their name take the momentum that he once had.
I just really hope that all the time off has given him a chance to, like, heal up things. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit of a rest. I know he's a family man and everything now. We saw him not too long ago. Ali had put together, you know, the Dominance had a PR day. And so we were able to see Cody there a while back, and he had this cute little puppy and everything. Like, it's nice sometimes when you just see people outside of fighting, and obviously, you know, they want to be in there fighting and doing what they love. But at the same time, it was like nice to see him just kind of living life. You know what I mean? Just kind of exhaling a little, living life, enjoying life, having a family, and just kind of doing that stuff. So I'm hoping to see some, I don't know, reignition of that old Cody Garbrandt, because he was fire at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's nice to see that he's taking some time off and hopefully comes back a new fighter, a rested fighter with the new invigoration inside of him, wanting, you know, to become the champion. Yeah. Again, a tough fight against a tough guy. But if he can come back and put a Sunsao out or get the victory over him, he'll get his confidence back. And he'll get that momentum back behind him.
For sure. Now, I don't know. You know, a lot of bars and things are going to be open. I'm not sure where people are watching. Personally, still staying home a lot here. But also, you know, I don't know which bars would even have this yet, if they're going to be open for this. And then also, we don't know. Hopefully, the violence will not continue. It is only Monday right now. Hopefully things will not continue to escalate around town with the protest. But, you know, as we mentioned at the top of the show here and just kind of as we're wrapping up, hopefully people are being good to one another out there and peacefully protesting and trying to get the right messages out, because there's a lot of upset in the world, Alan. There's a lot of upset people. And there's a lot of people who have been upset for a really, really, really long time. And it just, you know, it takes one more thing to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But hopefully people are safe out there. Be safe.
I agree. And I get it. I get what you're saying, especially when you say people that have been upset for a very long time. And now things are boiling over. My personal feelings on this, though, is that now is the time for the next stage of this. This stage, to me, is done. It's completed. I feel the world, there is nobody that I have seen. I haven't seen one person that is like, that is not for justice for George. I mean, I feel like the world has come together and united around the good of this. But it's the bad of this that's evolving. It's the opportunists and everything that comes with it. And now, I hate to say it, but every time we do a protest, if people are doing a peaceful protest, there's still going to be that 20% of people that don't really know where they stand, and the 20% of people that are opportunists, and they're going to come and loot and break stuff up, and it's going to overshadow the good that comes from it. So I don't feel like we need to do any more protesting. I truly don't. I feel like our point and the world's point has been proven and gotten across. Now it's the point. It comes upon the people, the activists, the names, the celebrities that call for people to be outspoken, to now say, let's bring this and go and get the prosecutors and change the legal system and make these changes and vote and get out there and do something to actually make a change, not devastating the community anymore and the people who have been waiting to open up their business and make money again and burning down the businesses. It's a mixed crowds going in here. But again, the true message is getting overshadowed now. And I think we need to move to the next stage of the legal stage of making something. I apologize, my phone, making something happen legally, not just going out there and seeing what happens. Because if we go out there and take it to the next stage, we can make something happen right now. Yeah. But continuing to go out here and protest, we know that we don't know if protesting is going to change anything, but we know if we continue protesting, there will be that crowd that's going to follow and go and riot and loot. And we don't want that. And so I would like to see everybody pull back on that right now and really start getting things done right now. You know, it's election year coming up, and there's a lot of things that we can be doing with, I saw an activist, I just got to say, I started following him today. Killer Mike. I don't know if you saw his speech. Killer Mike, if you haven't, people, I encourage you to check him out. He's an activist out of Atlanta, and he speaks so eloquently, unlike myself, and so powerfully, and it reminded me of Dr. Martin Luther King, the way that he spoke. And he has a vision and a path to how things need to get there. And even though he said, I don't want to be here, and he was in tears, I would love to see someone like that step up even more and help guide people on what to do, rather than just letting people go out and see if good or bad comes from it. Because right now, we're not really getting anywhere in terms of that. So that's my thoughts on it. I would like to see some good come up, because I feel like we're at a place now where everybody kind of feels the same thing. Yes, we want to see the justice system all on that same wave right now.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like people are finally coming around to it. It's sad that it took that to kind of convince people that there's problems. It's something I've dealt with my whole entire life. Racism has been a problem my whole entire life. It is on every day, you could point to something that happened because of that, right? Like, I don't see it for the reason of everything in my life, but at the same time, you could literally find something that happened every single day because of that. Sometimes people call them microaggressions and things like that, but a lot of stuff happens. It's a theme my whole entire life. So I will say, every time a protest comes around, you get a little hopeful, and then a lot of stuff just kept going the same way it always has, and that's why people get fed up to a lot of stuff. But I agree. Yes, hopefully we see some real positive change, with police policing each other, and just some real change in the way that people of color are treated in this country, because it's not right and it's not fair, and it's gone on way too long. So I really do hope we change.
And you said something very strong right there, Karyn. Police policing each other. Before, you have to put yourself in a position where you're with a group of people, and there's tension between these two groups of people. Yeah. And when one of you act, it doesn't mean that everybody has to follow that lead if you don't feel that that's the right action. And we've seen throughout this protest, we've seen throughout some of this looting and stuff, that there are cops that are pulling back. I saw videos of it today, cops speaking up that were with you. A female cop coming and detaining another cop who was arguing with the protesters, saying this is not the right way to do it. And so I feel like I love it. I love seeing that police, they need to be able to do that. We need to say, look, you're not making the right actions. Before, like, well, we're police, so it just has to be zip lips because I can't say anything because we're police. But no, these guys can instruct and help each other and say, look, you need to be done with this. So I'm seeing police changing. I'm seeing people getting it in their minds that they need to be changed. And I agree. Not everybody agrees with me. You guys might, Karyn and Wade, I know we don't always have the same feelings, but I feel like I'm ready for the change to now take place and not prolong this anymore where more businesses and people are getting hurt. And this is, to me, besides the point, but it is something we're talking about. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and I don't even really know the truth about this whole virus. But if 10,000 people were gathering every day hand in hand and the police, like, how much worse is that getting, right? And especially the Black community, who was more devastated than the white community from the coronavirus. So if now we're having gatherings of 2,000 Black people every day, like, it's not a good thing. Let's just start to settle down and let the people, the activists, the lawmakers, let's start getting after the prosecutors and changing the laws and signing the waivers and everything that has to be done to get these new rules in place. So that's my venting. I appreciate the time and listening, Karyn. I know we don't always, No,
we don't always agree on everything, but we do agree to, be good, be a good human being. Try not to be an a-hole. Like, you know what I mean? Just try to be a good person. It really isn't that hard. We do agree that you should follow us on our social media as well. You can follow Wade, who is our producer, Wade Eck. You can follow him across the board. For me, it is KB Heat over on Instagram. Karyn Bryant everywhere else. If you're watching this on YouTube on the Karyn Bryant channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. We also have MMA Heat everywhere, so you can subscribe there. And also last night, Megan and I did our final Killing Even More for the season. It was an incredible season finale of Killing Eve last night. So if you like that show, also please check out Killing Even More, because it was the season finale and we had a lot to talk about, and it's such a fun show. Alan, where can folks find you?
Yes, thank you, guys. And follow me as well at Alan Jouban across all my social media platforms. Again, me and Karyn, we love us some fights. We can't help but dip into what's happening in the world. We get into pop culture. We talk about a lot of stuff. A lot of times we agree, sometimes we don't, but we just kind of give it to you honest. But I like what you said. We agree. Just be a good person. Don't be an asshole. Enjoy some fights. Give us a follow. I appreciate it, guys.
See you next time.